Hi, welcome to Neppy Invests. Today I'll be looking at Bigtincan. This is a long-term holding of mine. I've bought in near the IPO and have held firm for quite a while. I'm a little bit disappointed with this Appendix 4C they did release, so let's get into it and see why I'm a little bit disappointed in it. So they do have a market cap of 450 million, and it's been rising by quite a bit. One of the things they didn't give me any information on was the annual recurring revenue. They do have guidance in regards to that, but I do like to see a company update us in the annual recurring revenue in each quarter, and they did do that. But this quarter, they only had receipts from customers of 4.5 million, which is quite low. So initially when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's really low compared to what I would expect. This is a seasonally lower quarter than other quarters. So we would expect this quarter to be lower than the previous few quarters. But it was quite a bit lower. In fact, it's lower than the previous year's quarter. So it's a slight disappointment just there. And they did burn cash to the tune of $6.5 million. So you can see their staff costs are quite high, $9 million in staff costs. So I know, labor costs are a big cost for companies. Now, I know it's good for the economy as a whole to have people employed, but when you're an investor, actually, you like to see staff costs or labor costs to be as low as possible. So it's sort of a catch-22 where for the economy as a whole, you want everyone to be employed, but you don't want them to be employed in the companies you own necessarily. So this is their receipts history, and you can see why I'm a little bit disappointed with this cash flow. So in fact, it's the lowest cash receipts they've had since January 2019. So probably they've noted that this was in line with expectations, and even though it's in line with expectations, they're still maintaining their guidance. And I'll get into the guidance in the next slide or so. But you can see here, a few quarters ago, they almost had $15 million in receipts. So it's gone quite a bit back from that. So I would expect once we go into the January numbers, it's going to be another really substantial number higher than what we saw this quarter. They would hope so, because we saw the share price drop 10% based off these numbers. And I think if they get a substantially lower number than I expect and the market expects, we could see a pretty substantial decrease in share price. So that's in late January. So these are some of the things they mentioned. Receipts in line with company forecasts. I didn't see any company forecasts, so we'll just have to trust them on that. They do have $63 million in cash, so they've done some capital raisings to raise that cash level. So even though they are market cap of 450, enterprise value was actually in the 300s. And as I mentioned, they did say they're remaining on track to meet guidance as stated in the financial year 20 results presentation. And their annual recurring revenue is 49 to 53 million. Now, a rough guide I use is to times that by 10 to give a rough estimation of what the market cap can be, and that's regardless of growth rates. And so that will give a market cap of 490 to 530 million. But if they would expect growth rates to be lower than that, then I would expect market cap to be lower. And if growth rates are exceptionally high, then I would expect the market cap to be higher than that. So that's just a rough guide I use. Other people might use a little bit different. So that's their guidance for the full year. They haven't changed on that. So and the revenue 41 to 44 million. So with only 4 million in cash receipts this quarter, we would expect the cash receipts the next few quarters to be substantially higher than this quarter. So that's what the hope is. Chart-wise, yeah, a good-looking chart this is on the most part. We've seen a good uptrend, especially, this is 6 months. So $1, I've done a video on Bigtincan. I've mentioned that $1 was a resistance line. In fact, I did partake in a capital raising, and I was going to sell my capital raising money when it reached $1 back in August, but it went straight through $1 very quickly. And to be honest, I didn't have much time to sell, and I've just held on to that. So what I've going to do is that $1 might act as support if it does get that low. And if it falls below $1, I would sell out of that capital raising holding. I maintain a holding for the long term at least, but we have seen the share price drop about 25% from its highs 2 weeks ago. So it did get as high as $1.60 about 8 trading days ago, and it's gone down to $1.20. So that's a 25% decrease in price. It's getting to a point where you would expect a little bit of support just based off the moving averages. And we've also got that $1 support too. So heading into the range where we should see some support. But if the market maintains its dislike for this quarterly's numbers, then we might see that share price drop a little bit further from $1.20, especially if the overall market's showing a little bit of weakness. And that's another reason why the share price has gone down over the last week. And if the market retains its weakness, potentially a lot of variables at play this week with the American elections. The market doesn't like uncertainty, and once we know for certain who's going to win the election, we might not know this week, we might not know this month, or even this year who's going to win the election. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty happening there. So it's one reason actually I'm staying out of the market. But anyway, getting back to Bigtincan, still in an uptrend. It hasn't dropped, but the last 8 trading days has been quite negative. So that's all I got of Bigtincan. I am a holder for, I've already mentioned that. But if you have any questions on Bigtincan, just leave a comment section. That's all I've got. So I'm not a professional advisor again. And if you do need professional advice, make sure you seek out a professional. I'm sure there's a lot out there who are qualified. Otherwise, that's all for this video of Bigtincan, and let's hope the next quarter is substantially better than this quarter. That's all for now. See ya.